He used his belt buckle to reflect sunlight towards the pilots to get their attention. You see, he had been lost in the woods for hours when it started to rain. He found shelter in a cave and spent the night there alone. The next morning, he heard helicopters flying above him. He was finally able to get their attention. The helicopter landed, the door swung open, and out stepped Harrison Ford. You could stuff a tire in your mouth if your cheeks were like a hamster's. That's because you would have an extra 2.5 square feet of skin that would be able to stretch to your shoulders. The skin would fold inward like hidden pockets, forming deep pouches that expanded into your neck. With so much space, you could fit over 60 Big Macs. And with all that food, your mouth would need to make 7 cups of saliva just to break it down and swallow. The doors suddenly closed, trapping his shoulders between them. And before he could react, the elevator shot upward. It pulled his body up with it, while his head hit the top of the doorway. And the force instantly decapitated him. A woman saw the whole thing inside the elevator. And after his death, she was trapped for 20 minutes with his headless body until rescuers finally freed her. He had a seizure in front of his dog, who grabbed the man's phone from his pocket because it sensed something was wrong. It pawed at the emergency call button, and dispatchers heard the man seizing, sending police and medics to his house. And when they arrived, the dog led them to where the man was lying. They took him to the hospital, and the doctors were able to save his life thanks to the dog's quick thinking. He found a human toe in a jar of alcohol as he was cleaning out the cabin, and he took it to the local bar. They started serving it in a shot of whiskey to anyone who was brave enough. But eventually, someone accidentally swallowed it. Luckily, another toe was soon donated, and over the years, this happened again and again. The bar is now on its 25th human toe, but the rules have stayed the same. You can drink it fast, you can drink it slow, but the lips have got to touch the toe. Most people think you should tilt your head back to stop the bleeding if you get a nosebleed. But tilting your head back can cause the blood to flow down your throat and into your stomach. This can lead to vomiting or even choking if the blood enters your airway. Instead, you should sit up straight and lean forward slightly. Then pinch the soft part of your nose just below the bony bridge. This helps apply pressure to the bleeding point and allows the blood to clot. If you get thrown in a jail cell, chances are it's painted a very particular shade of pink. That's because this color slows your heart rate and relaxes your muscles, which can reduce aggression and make you feel weaker. Now, this was originally tested in a naval prison, and within 15 minutes, prisoners became calmer and less erratic. But in the long term, it can have the opposite effect, making inmates more aggressive and violent. Regardless, this pink is still used in many holding cells, and is even in the locker rooms of rival football teams. If you fired a bullet at a line of soda cans, most people think they would explode one by one. But each can would actually slow the bullet down because the liquid inside acts like a shock absorber. A .22 caliber could pierce through 3 cans before stopping, while a .50 caliber could blast through up to 36 of them. Now, if they were frozen solid, they would shatter on impact, sending shards of metal and ice flying. The bear charged at the woman in her backyard, ready to attack. But right before it struck, her wiener dog barked and lunged at the bear, forcing it to stop. The bear swiped at the dog, slicing into its skin, but it didn't back down, and the distraction gave the woman enough time to defend herself. The dog chased the bear off, barking until it disappeared into the woods. He pulled the pin from a live grenade, snapping a photo while holding it in his hand. Then he quickly texted a friend the picture, joking about the danger. But the friend got worried and begged him to stop messing around. You see, the man thought it wouldn't explode unless he threw it. So he tried putting the pin back in, but it wouldn't go. And he let go of the lever, causing the grenade to blow up, splitting his body in half and killing him instantly. When gas forms inside you, your intestines push it toward the rectum, where your poop is stored. Since the gas is lighter than poop, it can pass through any available tiny spaces. The muscles in the rectum relax slightly to let the gas pass while keeping the poop in place. This movement allows farts to slip around your poop and exit your body. The victim would be trapped between two wooden boats with their limbs and heads sticking out. Next, they would be force-fed milk and honey, and this mixture would also be poured over them. Insects drawn to the smell would begin stinging and biting, and would eventually start eating through their skin. As the victim pooped, it would begin piling up inside the boats, attracting more bugs that would burrow inside them. And they would be trapped like this for weeks until they finally died. If you jumped off a skyscraper holding an umbrella, most people think it would slow your fall. But the force of the wind would turn the umbrella inside out, leaving you holding a stick before you crashed and died. To survive, you would need an umbrella the size of a parachute, about 25 feet wide, which might create enough air resistance for a safe landing. Even so, the wind could yank it away, leaving you empty-handed. He stumbled home drunk and fell into a giant pothole in the street. But when workers arrived, it was still dark, and they didn't see him lying there. They filled in the hole before flattening it with a steamroller. And the next morning, locals found an arm sticking out of the road. Terrified, they started digging and found the man buried alive and suffocated to death. He shoved the pool ball in his mouth and claimed he could close his teeth around it. But the moment the ball slipped past his tongue, he began to choke. His friends panicked and slapped his back, trying to knock it out. But it was stuck behind his teeth and wouldn't budge. They tried to pull it out, but his saliva made it too slippery. Finally, they turned him upside down, hoping they could shake it out, but nothing worked. And within minutes, the man was dead. Imagine you woke up dangling on a trapeze high in the sky. You start freaking out. You're so high you can't even see the ground. Now, you have no idea how you got here, but a part of you thinks this might be a dream, just because of how odd the situation is. I mean, you can't even see where the chains end. This has to be a dream. This means you should just let go and you'll wake yourself up, but it does feel real. So maybe you shouldn't fall just in case. Hours turn into days, and you're getting exhausted. You're afraid you're going to fall asleep and let go on accident, but maybe that's a good thing? There really isn't any other option, and time is running out. What do you do? He told the babysitter that there was a monster under his bed. She assumed he was just imagining things, so to make him feel better, she kneeled down to look. But instead of just dust and toys, she saw a grown man laying in the dark staring at her. He leapt out as soon as she saw him, throwing her to the ground and sprinting out of the house. He ran as fast as he could, but it wasn't long before he was caught and sent to jail. Live wasps are dropped into a container of strong alcohol, trapping them inside. They drown in the liquid, and as they die, their venom and other chemicals are released into the bottle. Over the next few years, the venom breaks down, mixing with the alcohol and giving it a bitter flavor. The alcohol preserves the wasps' bodies, which are left in the bottom of the bottle, but the venom left inside can still cause your throat to swell, making you choke. His truck veered off the road and into a steep ravine before landing in a creek. Now, somehow the man survived, but he was severely injured and only managed to crawl 100 yards from the wreck. As night fell, he collapsed, exhausted, with only his dogs for company. But one of them left him, running 4 miles back to his family. It barked frantically to warn them that something was wrong. And the next morning, they finally found him. Rescuers pulled him to safety and he survived, all thanks to his loyal dog. As they pulled up to the haunted lighthouse, his friend told him that anyone who went up never came back down. No bodies, no answers, just gone forever. He warned his friend not to go, but curiosity got the better of him. He told him he would call from the top to prove he was okay. Phone in hand, he stepped through the door and disappeared up the stairs. The climb was long, but at the top there was nothing, really. Just a quiet room and an ocean view. Not scary at all. He pulled out his phone, but there was no service. And that's when he noticed it. A small room off to the side. In it was an old rotary phone, still connected. He picked it up and called his friend, and let him know he was speaking from an old phone he found in this cool room. The friend froze. There was no phone or room in this lighthouse. He circled the base, looked up, and saw him standing on an old rotting plank, holding his cell phone. A gust of wind came hard off the sea. The call cut out, and only the lighthouse remained.